Good morning, flutarians. Welcome to another session of the Atomic Flutist warm-up sessions. If you are a member of the school group, you can join me in the conversation live. I'm in a live call there as well. And my goal for these sessions is to practice technique at least 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week. And I wanted to bring you in on these practice sessions so that you can achieve your top flute fitness and maintain it. So I will tell a brief, a story about improvisation and stage fright or performance anxiety. My student Nancy says that in the year of working with me, she went from having a lot of stage fright, like sweaty palms sort of situation, to having almost no stage fright. And that has been true of my story as well. I do still sometimes get the butterflies in my stomach, but through the process of learning to improvise, I've learned how to roll with the punches, so to speak. And when I play a note that is maybe not what I planned or not what I anticipated or not as consonant as I had hoped for, I've learned the skill of just keeping on going and folding it into the mix as if it was meant to be there. And sometimes when I listen to the recordings, it sounds like it was meant to be there. There are different types of wrong notes, and 2 of those different types are notes that the audience hears as wrong and notes that we feel are wrong. I've noticed in listening to my recordings that sometimes even when I feel in the moment like, oh, that's a wrong note, I didn't mean to play that, oftentimes when I listen to it in the recording, it sounds pretty good. Welcome, Stephen. So let's go ahead and get started with I would call it a 1-minute improvisation. I'm going to put on a drone tone that's this A. And let's just do an improv on the notes A, B, and C natural. I was thinking that today we can focus on the A minor key or key signature. I'm just warming my flute up a little bit with my hands. In my little tiny studio here, the heat tends to float up to the top, and it gets a little bit cold down here where my flute is. So it's only 34 degrees here in Austin. So I'll do it as a 2-breath solo. And remember, you can improvise with the dynamics, the volume, the articulation, the rhythm, but let's keep it to the notes A, B, and C natural. Ooh. When I put my flute back together last night, my head joint was not in my preferred spot. So we'll go back up to this C. And then I want us to go all the way down 1 chromatic note at a time to the low C. I think the low C, or the lowest note on the flute, is arguably the most challenging note on the flute. However, I also believe that the low register is the foundation for a beautiful upper register. So I always warm up my low register first. Let's do this as 2 notes per breath. And I've got this drone tone on so that we can tune to it and also continue to build an awareness of what are the intervals and how do they sound and feel compared to each other. I'm going to do this with no vibrato, and also I'll add a crescendo at the beginning. I'll start as quietly as possible. At that moment where my air tank is about halfway expended and I transition to the next note, I want to be playing as loudly as possible. And then when I finish the note, I want to be, again, as quiet as possible. This helps me learn how to compensate for the natural tendency on the flute to go sharp when we play loud and to go flat when we play quiet. So we'll do C to B first. first. Now B to B flat. B flat to A. A to A flat. Now, as we're doing this, if you accidentally crack up into the upper octave, I recommend going back to the previous set of 2 notes and practicing that one again, with this idea of relaxing into the lowest notes. You can't force flow. So let's do A flat to G. F sharp to F. E to E flat. Now, developing an awareness of how full is our air tank is an important skill in improvising, because we don't have a composer there or sheet music there to have written in a moment at which to breathe. So we have to start planning and composing that ourselves. Let's go back up to this C. And we'll do another way to kind of warm up to the low C and slide into it. Let's do this without articulating with the tongue. And let's listen for sure to, are there any little blips in the note, in between the notes, where our fingers maybe aren't lifting or closing at the same time? And be mindful, are your fingers all closing at the same time? So the first one will sound like just like a trill. But then we're going to add one note in the chromatic scale each time. So then it'll be this. Then it'll be this. And then eventually we'll get all the way down to the low C. This might require some awareness of planning your breath. Here we go, C to B. Now let's go down to B flat. Now down to A. As we approach the lower note as well, it might require some planning with the speed of your fingers. Maybe you have to move the scale a little bit faster. Let's go C down to A flat. Down to G. F sharp. Now down to F. Be mindful, what are you noticing is changing in your embouchure for the lower notes versus the higher notes? Let's go down to the E. Let's go down to the E flat next. Now let's go for the whole octave all the way down to the low C. Let's practice a little bit of octave leaps now. Now there are two ways that you can do this with and without articulation. My crazy hair. Trying to decide which way my hair is going to go this morning. So let's try for the low C, jump to the high C, go back to the low C, jump to the high C. Let's do this first without the tongue articulating. And I want to be developing an awareness of where exactly in my embouchure does the change happen for the upper octave. So we'll do this in the C, the A minor scale. We'll leave out the sharps and flats. So C to C. Now let's try it on the D. Now the E. Now the F. Now G. Now the A. Let's do the same thing, but going back down to the low C and adding the tongue. I find that adding the tongue gets the airstream moving a little bit faster and makes it a little bit easier for the note to sound. I'm also noticing that for going up to the upper octave, I'm noticing two things. It's like my air column is going from pointing down a little bit more to pointing a little bit more up. And I can feel my lips coming outward some, almost like kissy lips. So let's start on the A. And down to G. notice on this one, normally the fingering for this D, we have this finger up. However, you can get it with this finger down too. It's a good practice for the embouchure to leave the fingers the same. Let's do that again. And the C. I'm noticing myself in the camera today adjusting a lot. When I put my flute up, I'm doing this, and I'm moving the flute and trying to find the exact right position. I've gotten pretty good at finding that over these 25 years or so of playing the flute. However, sometimes there's still adjusting that needs to happen. So if you're still learning where that spot is for you, you can practice this way, putting the flute down, putting it back up. Let's do this a few times on the A. So we'll put the flute down, play the note, take the flute away, put it back. Let's do two more. Now remember, musicians are like small muscle athletes, so the things that we practice more, the things we'll get better at, the more we practicing them, the more muscle memory we'll have. So since sometimes we put our flute up and play 1,000 notes without taking our flute down, we don't get as much practice of putting the flute up to our face unless we do it with intention like we just did. Let's go back to that A again and do just 1 minute of vibrato practice. So I like to practice this starting as slow and big vibrato as I can, and then getting faster and faster and faster until I'm as fast as I can go when I'm running out of breath. Take a breath, then start as fast as possible, and then get as slow as possible before you run out of breath. Here we go, slow to fast. Fast to slow. Let's do the same thing, but on the A an octave higher than that. Slow to fast. Now let's practice our articulation and our upper octave a little bit at the same time. So let's start on that same A. Let's play kind of a long tone first. Get the note out nice and clear if you can. And then let's add this ta, 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 until you run out of breath. It with a nice long tone with a little vibrato. I always open my mouth, or try to always open my mouth at the end of a note to let the flute continue to ring and let the resonance in my body continue to ring. Let's do the same thing on the B natural. Same thing on the C natural. Same thing on the D natural. And E. Now let's take our last minute to practice that scale segment from A to E. Let's do this articulated and for as long as you have breath for. All right, well, I hope you're feeling warmed up. If you're tuning in on YouTube, thanks again for tuning in. I invite you to join us on the Flutarians School. And I think the most fun place to start there is to play the Flutarians Journey Mad Lib, or to go rate yourself on the improv anxiety to confidence scale. I want you to help you get to the 5, where this is cool as quickly as possible, as opposed to being at a 0 where you feel like, oh, I'm going to die when somebody asks me to play something without sheet music. So I hope to see you there, and happy Sunday. Also, at 1 p.m. today, Central Time, I'll be doing improv games, and we'll do a highlight on the church song Sanctuary. Might even play a couple of church songs after that. And I do improv games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well.